This is Michael Smith of MedPage Today. I'm in Cape Town at the 5th International AIDS Society meeting on HIV pathogenesis, treatment and prevention. I'm speaking with Dr. Anthony Fauci, who is Director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. Dr. Fauci, you've been Director of your institute now for several years through many administrations. The new administration is making encouraging noises about HIV and AIDS. What differences do you see in the future, or will it be essentially a continuation of previous policies?
Well, there are a couple of issues. There's one, the resource issue, and then there's the policy issue. The resource issue, as we all know, we're in fiscal constraints, so we will continue support at the level that we have for HIV, but until things loosen up vis-a-vis resources, it's unlikely we're going to get large increases in resources for research. We were expecting that. Hopefully things will loosen up and we'll get more. The issues of policy are a little bit different. For example, it's clear right now domestically that with the push to get a health care reform, that we will have access to health care and health care insurance within a reasonable time for everyone in the United States, we hope. That will have an impact on the policy of being very aggressive in trying to test as many people as we possibly can on a voluntary basis to get them into treatment if they deserve treatment, or to get them into other programs. By deserve, I mean if they're in the guidelines of getting treatment. The other issues are issues, for example, of the prevention programs internationally. We know that the issue of abstinence only is essentially a non-issue now. That's not going to be a problem. We're going to have prevention that is relevant and appropriate to the places in which the programs are implemented. The other is the issue of needle exchange. The administration clearly is in favor of removing the ban on federal funding on needle exchange. The Democratic Congress is in favor of that. It very likely will go through, that the ban will be removed. There'll be some stipulations, so we're hearing as it works its way through Congress, like a certain distance from schools, etc., that needles can be exchanged by federal programs. The other is the immigration ban of not allowing people into the country under special circumstances who are HIV infected. That clearly is going to go. It's right now in the public review on the Federal Register, and we're all hoping that after the comments are in, that's going to go. So there are several policy issues that we look very favorably upon, and we're looking forward to working with the administration on that.
Well, Dr. Fauci, there is some money coming from the economic stimulus package, I believe. Yes,
the NIH is having $10.4 billion from the stimulus package. We are spending some of that on HIV/AIDS. I know I'm putting some of the money that's been allocated to my institute into some programs to help contain the HIV epidemic with things like test and treat feasibility studies, studies on trying to eradicate HIV with fundamental basic science studies regarding latency. So there's a whole slew of things. The stimulus money is limited to 2 years in spending, so it isn't something that we can give, for example, a 5-year grant for, or a 4-year grant, but it is very welcome resources in a time of fiscal constraint. It's a considerable amount of money, and some of it will be spent on HIV/AIDS.
Dr. Fauci, at many recent meetings, the U.S. has been rather demonized for its position on HIV, but that seems to have changed. The PEPFAR program, although it was originally criticized, among other things, for the abstinence requirements that you alluded to, has been very successful and is very popular. What challenges are in the future?
I think the challenges internationally are to get other countries in the G8 to step to the plate and fulfill their promises for HIV. In the many meetings that I have been to, at least in the last 10+ years, this is the first meeting in which it was very, very pro-USA and USA policy. PEPFAR is a rousing success. It started with the Bush administration. It's being continued with the Obama administration. Everyone recognizes the transforming change that PEPFAR has made right here in Africa. Having the meeting in Africa is important because right here the people see firsthand the positive effect that PEPFAR has on them. In addition, we still remain the major funder of other programs such as the Global Fund for HIV/AIDS, TB, and malaria. We had the opening session of the meeting having the chairperson of the IAS, the International AIDS Society, get up and essentially thank the United States for the programs that they have been implementing. So it's a welcome change to come here and not have a lot of people having problems with what the United States is doing. It feels feels really good because we essentially are the heroes of this meeting for what we've been doing with PEPFAR and other things.
Indeed, at the opening ceremony, Dr. Julio Montaner, the head of the International AIDS Society, criticized the rest of the G8 rather forcefully.
He did, and deservedly so, because the G8s have come through with a lot of promises over the years, and they just have not delivered. And I think it's important that they just reconsider that and deliver.
Now, of course, with HIV, there are many competing interests. There is prevention, there's treatment, there's clinical science. Is there a risk at all that the basic science is going to be left out?
There's no danger in my mind, and certainly not in my institute, that basic science is going to be left behind. We support a substantial amount of our budget is on basic science pathogenesis. Over 20%, close to 25% of our budget is in pathogenesis, which really is in essence fundamental basic science. So I don't think people who are concerned that this is going to fall by the wayside should be concerned, because there will always be a major commitment to basic science in HIV/AIDS.
Dr. Fauci, the holy grail of HIV research to some degree has been the search for a vaccine, and that has, of course, so far not been successful. The Merck vaccine failed a couple of years ago, and in the wake of that, you and others suggested that there should be a new paradigm for vaccine research. How's that going?
It's going well. When you turn the knob, as we say, from development predominantly to a substantial amount on discovery, you don't give up on development, but you ask certain questions that have yet to be answered, fundamental basic questions that will inform how we go about developing a vaccine. We're doing well on that. We have a number of people now looking at some fundamental issues, structural biological approaches to the envelope cell interaction, trying to get a good feel for what those epitopes are that would induce neutralizing antibody, as well as a variety of other studies of latency, studies of fundamental pathogenic mechanisms. These are all contributing to a better understanding of how to develop a vaccine. So it is going well.
In Cape Town, I'm Michael Smith for MedPage Today.